Got fitted Japan.
Yeah, all the time me on business. I'm all about my business, but I ain't got no briefcase. Yeah, all I got's some whiskey. Open and the whiskey, bring it to you. Yeah, I'm leaning up against the door, and my feet stuck to the floor, and we're messing on and go. Yeah, I've been in before. Whoa, whoa. I'm a broken man, needing remedial lands. I'm all about my business. Let me love you till the morning. Let me love you till the morning, yeah.
What's up, faders? Welcome to yet another action-packed episode of Got Faded Japan, and I am your host, Johnny. And as you fine folks know, Got Faded Japan is about two dudes, booze, Japan, and the news. And actually, this episode, we're not drinking. I'm not going to drink this month because I got Tokyo Art Tank, and I got so much work I got to do for Tokyo Art Tank. We'll talk about that at another time. But anyway, I'm sober, and I'm sober here with my good friend, Justin. Justin, the man who I've been trying to get on this podcast for not days, not weeks, not months, but years. And now he's finally here for episode 721. You know, I've waited 721 episodes to get you here.
I believe it.
Yeah. It's taken a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of money. No, I'm joking. A lot of coffee.
I'll wait for that in the bank account.
Yeah, well, it's coming. Checks in the mail. But faders, we have the man, the myth, the legend. We have Justin here from the company, the organization, the legendary music movement, More Than Music. Justin, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
I guess
really appreciate all the positive words. And cheers to your cup of coffee today.
Cup of coffee. This is strong coffee. It's
pretty tasty, actually.
Thank you. Well, you know, the thing is, I try to invest in coffee. You know, I saw Pulp Fiction when I was a little kid, and I was like, you know what? They drink good coffee. Maybe I should too. And I threw away all my Maxwell House, and I started buying Starbucks because when I was a kid, I thought that was like the good stuff. I was wrong.
I feel like everyone into coffee would be like, terrible mistake.
Yeah.
Go back to Maxwell.
You really can't go wrong with Maxwell, you know? I mean, they got a house. But Justin, thank you so much, honestly, for being on the show. I know you're really busy. You're doing a lot of stuff here in Tokyo, and you've got a lot of projects that you have like coming down the tubes this week and this month, and I think for the end of time. So I've got some questions that I'm going to go through, and yes, I know some of them. I know the answers, but I want everybody else, all our faders, to know like who you are and what you're doing for this good community here in Japan.
Yeah, sure thing, man. And thanks for having me on. Like, really excited.
Oh, really? Well, thanks, man. Thanks. It's good to have you here. So, okay, for starters, you're the president and the creator of the company More Than Music.
Yes.
So tell me about More Than Music. What is More Than Music?
So at the core of it, it's honestly a collection of events with the theme of building a community around it all. Mm-hmm. So I fell into the scene with live music almost 10 years ago. Like at that point, I didn't think I liked music more than anybody else, but it kind of stemmed from doing these events with my brother where we cooked and we met friends of friends. And I kind of heard how the music scene was really difficult. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, there's 40 people in my house every other week for these home parties. Like, why don't we do something outside? And I just cold called and ended up booking like a live house before I ever went to a live house. Wow. And what I learned is 1 week is not enough time to organize an event. Everyone I asked was busy, and then I just begged friends who knew artists. Mm-hmm. But it came together. A lot of people had fun, and we ended up with like 5 bands. A bunch of people came out. The venue asked us to do it again. The bands who were in the audience asked to play the next one, so it just kind of grew from there.
That's fantastic. And that's here in Tokyo.
Yeah, I did. I mean, my core is in Tokyo, but over the last year, like, I've taken a couple of bands abroad on tour in Europe, and we've been when people are coming over, we've been supporting people in Japan from all around the world, like France, Jamaica, Canada, all over Europe and Norway. But right now I'm focusing on Tokyo.
Cool. Very cool. So Tokyo bands. But if somebody just happens to come to Japan, faders, listen up, you can book them.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right. And your phone number is
111.
555, right? Like in the movies?
555.
555 8675 309. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're the same age.
Doesn't someone have the real number now?
Yeah. Well, I would love to have that number.
How many people call you though?
Everybody, especially in January.
Nah.
Hey, Jenny. Okay. But all right. So you do more than music, meaning like you also have like art events, you have like food events. Like what else do you do? Or is that incorporated too with these music events?
So actually, originally, the more than music came from the community aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Like while we gather around music, I wanted people to really connect. Like you've been out to a lot, but in Japan, I think sometimes a live show is treated like a theater and people come and they watch their friends and then they leave.
Yeah.
And I fell in love. Like once I really started doing this, like I was going out to shows 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually where I learned my Japanese. It's where I really fell in love with Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the community aspect that really drew me in first.
Yeah.
And then the fact that there's so much good music in Tokyo blows my mind.
There's a lot of good music in Tokyo.
But like with every show, like we want people to come out and connect, whether it's with each other, with the bands. And that was the original focus of the More Than is about the community aspect. But running with the name, as we did it more and more, like we started combining music with other things, like music and poetry, music and arts, music and comedy, just music and foods. I started food originally, and now we're kind of back to it. We do a lot of events like where we take the music to restaurants, do a pizza party or barbecue or things like that. And that seems to be a niche that I really enjoy.
Yeah, it's a niche that I don't think anybody else is really doing. I mean, sometimes if you go to a nightclub, somebody's like selling like some kind of food, like maybe like tamales or hot dogs or something like that. But the last event that I went to that was More Than Music, you had like, I think 3 different vendors in 2 different bars. There's like,
the art gallery one.
Yeah, there's like a bar for like liquor, and then there's a beer bar, and then you have like Mexican food, Ecuadorian food, and I think Jamaican jerk chicken or something like that. Yeah. So I mean, everybody that came that was hungry, they left with a full stomach.
Yeah. I love food, so
me too.
I bring it in so I can eat it, honestly.
Yeah. I really want to go to your event that's at the tap room up here in Nakameguro.
Oh yeah. Actually, starting next year, we'll be doing it monthly.
Monthly, really? I love that place. It's great. Great beers. Good pizza, too.
They have really good pizza. Like, they love their story about it coming from New Jersey. And it's like, I'm from the tri-state area, so perfect.
That's so fantastic. Yeah, their pizza used to be like just kind of so-so, you know? Like, and this is like years and years ago, like maybe like 5-6 years ago. And then all of a sudden, like overnight, I don't know who started working there or what happened. All of a sudden, people started raving about their pizza. And I go in there and get a couple of pints because I like the Angry Boy and the Kakaku IPA. I love those. So I go in there and stuff, and I tried their pizza once. And once again, I was like, holy smokes, YouTube. This is fantastic. Yeah, and oh my God, I can't say enough. I think it's probably like the best pizza in Japan.
Oh, I think it's really up there. Like I was really surprised.
It's definitely like one of my, I mean, I don't know of another place that produces pizza as well as the taproom in Nakameguro at this point. I think they just push the level so high where it's just like so good. I mean, you go there for the beer, but you stay for the pizza.
Yeah. You wouldn't expect that from a craft beer place, but
yeah, it's really good, Faders.
I think his story is like they met some guy who was like traveling the East Coast, learning how to do like New York and specifically New Haven style pizza. Yeah. And then they ran into them in Japan and he like came in and cooked and like taught him his recipes. And that's why it's so good now.
Wow. Now they're Jedi masters. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's great pizza. Great pizza. Okay. And you're doing a lot of events, like food events, comedy events. In 1 month, how many events are you generally organizing?
So I have fluctuated a lot over, like, I'm literally going through trial periods. Like, I didn't plan to do this. This was a hobby that kind of took over my life.
Tell me about it.
And did in the best way possible.
You've been in my studio in the other room, right?
I saw it.
I love drawing. Now it's a job.
Yeah, right. So we went from like monthly to weekly. At the peak, I was organizing 8 events a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
8 a month.
8 a month.
8 a month.
And that that is a good way to really stress yourself out and burn out. Because it wasn't even rhythmic. It was like every event was an individual event at a different place. So like we're doing the negotiation with the venues and finding the artists. We didn't have a home for anything. And we cooled it down probably around summertime. And I organize 4 events a month right now. But around it all, we built like a membership system. You pay a month and then it's like free events or discounts. And
It's a good system.
Like around 8 events, people seem to really like it. So we work with venues and do pickup events where it's actually not my event, but our members can go for free. So like in November, we still have 8 events. I organized 4 of them and 3 of those are free for members. And then one, our Thanksgiving dinner is like a discount. But then we have 4 pickup events at different venues around Tokyo that like really just look interesting. And why not? I actually, the pickup concept I really like because usually the ones we get to pick up, they're like we won't pick it up if the music's not good. But there's a lot of good music with people who are terrible at promotion. So they know it's like good music, good bands, but it's going to be not that big of an audience are the ones that tentatively come our way. So like it's a way to kind of bring in some new people to experience really good music for people that don't have an audience. And it's kind of like been a win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah.
And what kind of music do you generally have? Is it generally like rock or funk or hip hop or soul, or is it like every event is completely different?
I started in punk rock.
Punk rock,
because that's the scene.
Speaking my language.
Yeah, right. I fell into it. And they're probably the first, like there are a lot of good music. And the first band that I was just sitting there and I disappeared for like 40 minutes. And then I came back to reality. I'm like, what happened? It was this band called Tokyo Sapiens.
Tokyo Sapiens.
And then like I was like, do you guys like Mars Volta? And they just got so excited. They're like, yeah, we love Mars Volta. But probably still to this day, like I love their music. And they actually broke up as a band and I invited them every month to play a show. And they're actually back together and they're going to record like their first album. After being together as a band for 6 years, they never actually tried to record. They love to play. So like it's something that like unless you
sounds like the Misfits.
Yeah,
that's like, what they did.
And then so there's that and like this band Yowamushi Club, which is like this electronic rock pop that really like stood out. Like if you wanted to make really good rock music based on a video game feel, and they blew me away. Cool. But now like I ended up finding people who are like really talented. And then I'm like, I want to work with this person. And then once you start working with them, I started booking people around them. So now at this point, we're like completely open genre. And like, I work with things that I never even knew I liked. Like, there's this guy, Josiah Hawley, who you might know. When I first heard him, I was like, this is a very talented man, but I could never see myself doing shows with him because it's so different than what I organize. But I liked working with him. So we started doing shows together. And now I do like R&B and soul events sometimes and like blues rock. And then just like, I never thought I liked reggae particularly much. And like, it sounds very samey to me. This guy came over from France and like, I fell in love with his music and he's a reggae artist. And it was wild because he was on tour here. And like, while he was on tour, like the Grammys reached out to him. Like he's up for a potential nomination as like the best reggae album in 2023.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you have that. And then there's tons of folk music.
Yeah.
And if I had to sum it up now, I've realized like, I think we do have a niche, even though it's open genre. I think it's definitely like Western influence, like people with like Western ears enjoy the type of music that we book. And it leans on original music. Like we don't do so much with cover bands, like, and it's not like a standard 4/4 song. Like it's people creating a lot of originality, but also not people trying to show off with technique, but writing something good. And like the ones that have, I think, impressed me the most are the ones that make you feel something, whether it's like to jump up and down with energy or to cry because it's beautiful. Like it's good music that makes you feel something.
Wow, that's awesome. And basically you find the bands from anywhere and everywhere.
Oh yeah. Like, yeah. Like,
are you at the point where like a lot of bands contact you?
When we did our first tour for this band from Mexico, and we actually set up the full tour for them, wanted to see how it'd go. And then we also booked Sarah Kang right around the same time.
Wow.
pretty big. And after both of those, like we started getting a lot more outreach. So there's always emails with people who want to do something. But also I went through a phase where like I like to make people happy. So like it's hard to say no, and I want to, but like work with a lot of them. But at the same time, like when it was in the beginning, like I was going out and finding like, oh, these are the ones like that like move me. Like let's work with these guys.
Yeah.
And I need to always make sure I strike that balance to make sure that I'm going out there to find what I love and care about, and make sure that I'm always bringing that in, even if I'm getting a lot more outreach now.
Wow, man. So you're not only organizing 4 to 8 events a month, you're actually going out to other events and checking out other bands.
Yeah.
You're busy.
So when it like became, I think I was doing shows not that often till 2017.
Yeah.
And then I was doing like once a month from that point forward. And 2019, I actually quit my job to focus on this because I felt like I had to make a decision. Perfect timing. 4 months later, Corona came around. But the rule that I had in the beginning is if I didn't see them live, I wouldn't book them. And
that's a good rule.
And I think that kind of also drives like what kind of music do we book? It's music, how you consume it really matters. Like if you're online, if you're listening in on Spotify or TikTok or anything, like that shapes the music that is produced or the scene or the feel. And I think that means what I always cared about since the beginning was the live music experience. Like what is it in person and how do you take it in?
Well,
and
live music is magical.
Oh yeah. It's, you do a couple hundred events and you're still excited every week for what's coming up. Like
it's definitely true. It's definitely true. Yeah, I get the same thing when I go to one of my shows or to a friend's show or to any show. And if I see a band that's completely brand new that I've never experienced before and they blow me away, it's just like something that I won't stop talking about for about a week or so. And Faders, you've probably heard me talking about bands left, right, and center here on this podcast. But also, it's really incredible to see a band that you've seen 100 times go on stage and still blow you away. And there's a lot of bands in Tokyo. I mean, Tokyo is like a great melting pot of bands. I mean, there's like so many different kinds of like bands here, right? I mean, every night of the week you can see like, well, reggae, punk, hardcore, classical. I mean, there's always something happening in Tokyo. It's one of the beautiful things about Tokyo.
Yeah, it's really funny when you organize. Like sometimes you're like, you kind of run into some people are like, everybody knows everybody. And then like you discover one band and you go out and you're like, there's this whole scene that I didn't even know existed of like hundreds of bands and thousands of people seeing these bands that like until you meet someone in it, like you didn't even know it was there.
Oh,
and
gosh,
that's like the crazy thing about Tokyo. Like Chikiya?
Chiquita, the name rings a bell.
So down in Kunitachi, like we ended up going out there just because a band, Atsuko Legs, was playing, and it just opened up, and I was like, I did not know that there was so much support for the psychedelic scene, and there's so many good psych bands in Tokyo, but like it's underground. It's very underground.
Okay, like, I don't know this band at all.
Yeah. No, it's not a band. It's a venue.
It's a venue. Okay, cool. I thought it was a band, and I've heard so many names of so many bands. I was like, yeah, I probably heard of it, but no, I have not. I don't know anything. This is a different language,
right? And how much music do you know, and how many things have you been to? And you didn't
a lot.
And it's still like, oh, that's a whole scene that I don't even know about yet. Like, it's so crazy. Yeah.
You want to get into crazy, you got to start listening to noise rock. Noise rock here was like, I mean, it all started with the Boredoms in like the mid 90s, maybe even before that. But I mean, just like basically just making noise.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And there's a guy, his name is Martin, that organizes this event called Parasites on Helium. It's an interesting name. Great show. And he books like all sorts of just really unique kind of bands. And he's had a couple of like noise bands that were just like, it was like 40 minutes of just pure noise. But after like 30 minutes, you're like, I think I get it. Now I'm in, maybe the drinks are kicking in, who knows? But Parasites on Helium's great. Have you ever been to the Paint Your, we should go together. His next one's in a couple of weeks.
Why not?
The Paint Your Teeth events.
No, I haven't. I never even heard Paint Your Teeth.
Paint
Actually.
Your Teeth is another like really abstract, bizarro event that's in Kabukicho, and it's an American guy that organizes that one. I'm not sure if he wants me to say his name, but
Okay.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. I went to one event where they had like baby mice that they're chopping up or something. They do a lot of like the weird stuff that when people talk about like things happening in Japan. They're like, oh, I went to this event where like they're chopping up these like little like mice kind of things or whatever. It's so gross, whatever. And then like somebody else is listening, they're like, nah, that doesn't really happen in Japan. But no, it does happen at these events. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Like there have
Paint
been
your
some
teeth. Google it.
There have been some weird ones when you're exploring. Like I remember going to one and these guys just smash energy drinks and go just ham on the guitar and drums. Personally, for me, not the best music, but halfway through their set, they like walk onto this where the audience is with like concrete, and they pull out these boxes with like barbed wire and tacks, and they just start pro wrestling each other in the stage with the audience.
It's called death match. Okay.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. I go to these things sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Death match. Okay.
Death match. Yeah. Google it.
Wait, do you know the band? Is that the band's death match, or is that the genre of wrestling?
It's the genre of wrestling where pretty much you got two people that go into the ring and pretty much they keep on wrestling until one's more bloody than the other. And at that point, nobody knows who's winning or not. Like, I think they're going to die. Somebody should stop this. This is out of control. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I dig it.
Yeah, they did it in the audience. Like the tacks were like flying past my feet and stuff when they were slamming each other.
That might be illegal.
Maybe.
That's wild. No, I wouldn't want to go to that one. No, a death match. When you go to death matches here in Tokyo, I mean, pretty much like the first two rows of audience members, they get garbage bags to cover themselves from blood, glass, and I guess like shrapnel, pretty much. And it's one heck of an experience. I highly recommend that you wear sunglasses or glasses, goggles, a coat. Doesn't matter if it's summertime, wear a winter coat, just in case. But they're a lot of fun. You got to see them like every so often. Makes you feel alive.
Maybe I'll have to go to one someday.
Oh man! So speaking of venues, like, what are the pros and cons of using multiple venues all the time?
So the pros of using multiple venues is you change up the scenery. So since we're like really community focused, like we have a nice core of regulars who come out. Yeah. So it gives them something new and something nice to experience. And as you're moving around, like we get to work with some great places like Moon Romantic, Haremame. And actually from December, we get to book for Bar Room, which is, I can't believe how nice this venue is. Like it's a circular stage with like plush seating all around it. And like coming from punk rock and like some of these like hole in the wall places, it's like, oh, this is amazing for very different reasons, but I like both. So having the ability to explore both. But then the con of it is like we're building a community, but they don't know where we are. So unless people really pay attention, it's a little bit hard to keep everybody involved because we're at a different place, different times. People come out and they like our show, but they think we're the venue or we're always at the same place. So like that becomes really difficult. And actually, so next year, we're going to book one place in Shimo every week. And then the weekends we'll do a variety of places. So we can keep using different places and new things while also having like a home base for the core. Try to balance it out a bit.
That's a good idea, but it's kind of cool to have a different place every week or every 3 or 4 days. And just because it's kind of like the old rave scene, Like, I mean, I used to go to raves all the time when I was a kid, when I was in high school. That's pretty much all I did in high school. But the thing is, it's just like, I mean, every weekend, you get like a phone number, you call that phone number, and which would lead to an answering machine. Remember those? And that answering machine would have like an address. Really? And you just go to, you get a map and you find that address. And you're like, okay, it's in this warehouse on the east side of Detroit. Let's go. Or, and that's pretty much how it was, and every time, unless it was like the Packard plant, but I mean, almost every other time it was like a different like warehouse. And Detroit's got a lot of old warehouses, especially back in the 90s. And that was a really, really exciting part of my life, and I think that's kind of cool because that's like what you're doing. And I think for people that want to go and see their friends and see new music, like maybe once or twice or a week or a month or something, going to a different venue is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know?
There's definitely a positive to it.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm sure the contracts with the clubs are going to be a nightmare, right?
Oh, man. So it's like the downside.
I've dealt with that.
You're constantly talking, and like it's a weird thing. Like we have a good audience, and like we book some bands who can also draw. So like people seem to love what we do.
Yeah.
And then like, so is it valuable? And they're like, oh, what? We like what you do, but don't ask us for a good system. And I shouldn't say that. I have a lot of people treat me fairly now, but like, I like running 8 events. I want to build. So my goal is with a membership, if we get to like 400 members, we have like outside of doing a cool event, like a lot of indies bands struggle because they don't have good content or they don't have good marketing schemes. So I want to make it where we produce like good designs, good photos, good videos, and then the bands can use these to promote the events and or in post, like show what they're doing in a way that's good quality. Like even before Corona, I was trying to do that because there are bands I loved working with that are amazing. But if you looked at them online, no one would come based on the content you could see because it's some really bad iPhone 3 video with like no good sound quality. And most people struggle to see the difference between a good video and a good band.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, musicians are usually the worst graphic designers. I'll be honest, man. Same with DJs.
Yeah. But so if we get to that number, then we can kind of cover all the needs of running an event, and it becomes like very stable, and we can do whatever we want, wherever we want.
Cool.
Until then, like it's really this crazy game of like balancing costs, and it's a crazy negative game usually, but like
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. You're always in the red.
Like you said, a lot of your listeners aren't in Japan.
A lot of them aren't.
So we get more and more, especially after booking a few bigger international artists, like we get a lot of reach out. They cannot believe how Japan operates. Like the general rental system when you go to a live house is like $1,500 for a night for a place that's like 100-person capacity.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I went to the UK on tour for the first time, they're like, yeah, it's kind of expensive. Like it's like 60 quid to rent out. And you're like,
what? I spend that on drinks in the morning.
Yeah, right. So like, and then in France, like, so France is yay for communism and socialism, because I learned if you're like booking 500 hours a year as an artist, like you can actually apply and be a professional artist, and the government pays you a salary to be an artist of the state. And you're like, what?
Why am I here?
These systems exist. That's amazing. And I do feel like that should be more support. So when they come over, they're like, yeah, of course we get dinner, food, hotels. And you're like,
I got to pay for what? I used to bring DJs, drum and bass DJs over from Europe and America and New Zealand to Japan. And the rider itself was ridiculous. And that was only for one guy, you know, and my gosh, I never, maybe once I broke even, but I was always like almost breaking even. And oh gosh. And that was just with a DJ, right? Tokyo's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Pretty expensive. It's really hard to break even.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Or make a buck. Yeah. Oh man. But that's pretty incredible. I want to talk about touring. So, I mean, you're kicking ass in Tokyo. What made you want to leave Tokyo and start like doing more than music overseas?
So kind of like what I said earlier, if I dialed it in, we tend to have book bands that have a Western influence.
Yeah.
And I think it does well with like Western listeners and Western people. So it's like, and then also you have the Japanese aspect to it. And some of the bands very clearly like, they're in like Japanese garbs, or they're using shamisen.
Oh yeah.
And the first band I toured over is called the Shamisen.
Love those guys.
And they're punk rock and hardcore, but they're 2 guys on shamisen with a bunch of effectors to make it more modern and a really good drummer. And I'm like, I know they struggle here, and Japan's like major scene is set up to support more like J-rock and J-pop, which have a very particular sound.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to explain it, but you could hear like 1 second of the song and you're like, J-pop.
Exactly. K-pop, J-pop. Yeah.
And whether you like it or not, that's everyone's decisions, but it's just different. And it's like, I feel like this music could do well abroad. So I went over just looking to England,
just for research.
just for research.
Okay.
I dropped in a bunch of places, tried to connect. And ironically, it wasn't going too far, but like on my day off with my friend Luke, we went to see a show, and it was just so much fun. It was like a sold out album release party. These guys, Dog a Man, going insane. And I went over, I was like, I love your music. Would you ever consider going to Japan? And he's just like, I've been dreaming of Japan.
Really?
Like, let's go. And in 5 minutes of talking with him, I knew I had the support to like set something up. He did like 3 shows, and then we got 2 more shows. We brought the band over for a week.
Cool.
And everyone loved it. Like you have really good music. There's like this Japanese element to it. And it built, and like they were invited to multiple festivals. It all kind of fell apart for them because that tour was end of February to the start of March 2020.
Oh,
so
bad timing.
Our flights through China got canceled. So we like rebooked last minute, and
You
then
have to take a boat back to Japan.
we got there. The first show, like these guys, they're just like, oh man, everyone's talking about Corona, but we brought it over here. Give it up for the Shamisen in Japan.
Oh my God.
And it was just a joke that like we came back and everything got canceled. And ironically, like the band was I paid for the tickets up front when we had to rebook, and
Of course.
like, you know, they had some big gigs and everything was canceled. So like that was a big cost to eat. But like
it's a gamble.
that's yeah. But my second time was actually with Paranoid Void. I fell. Do you know Math Rock?
Math Rock the genre?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the band Yes, right? Very progressive.
So like very progressive.
Like Entrada.
Rock. Yeah.
Rock band Entrada, yeah.
Take rock.
Oh, you mean that
Thrash
Luke?
metal.
Did you go to UK with that Luke? I love fucking Luke. Oh man, I was thinking Luke. I'm like, I know 5 Lukes here in Japan. Which one was it? Yeah, tall Luke, short Luke, tattoo Luke, photography Luke. I don't know. Entrada Luke. Yeah.
So like I just felt that there's a thing for it. We actually have some videos up on our YouTube now.
Cool.
Like we did a 3-month trial run of like if we would record the live performances and put them online.
Yeah.
And next year, the place that we're going to do every week, they're actually going to be recording. So
wow,
we should have like a weekly video. Probably starting up again in like a month or 2. And this time it's not a trial. We want to keep it running.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very, very cool. And yeah, going to Europe. I mean, before Corona, I used to tour in Europe maybe once, sometimes twice a year for like painting and stuff. And going there, making connections coming from Japan is actually pretty interesting because a lot of people in Europe love Japanese culture.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like, I mean, when you go there, I mean, even in America too, I guess, like when I was there and stuff, it's just like, I'd make so many connections, you know, and it's just like, yo, I want to come to Japan, or, hey, I want to bring you back from Japan or something. So it's just like kind of an advantage being here in Japan, I guess.
There's 100
compared to like Detroit.
There's 100% like that interest in Japan works both ways.
Yeah.
People really want to come here, so they're willing to support you, and vice versa. Like Japan's unique. If we bring it over here, it's something that really stands out for them wherever they are. So I jumped into it probably a bit too early, but like in the long run, like within 5 years, I hope to have like a really good touring system set up. I did realize that if you go on tour, it really screws up your rhythm. Like my last tour was May, June for about 3 weeks.
Wow.
So
3 weeks on tour. Oh my God. When I go to Europe, like I went on tour to Europe painting, and I painted in Athens, Amsterdam, Berlin, and Paris, 4 different countries for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so many nightclubs. It was incredible. And if you go back to like maybe episode 2 years ago, you could hear all that shit. But the thing is, it's just like 3 weeks is my maximum of staying like in hotels or at promoters' houses and trying to find a place where you can get a good sandwich or a cup of coffee or something. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. Living off alcohol, pretty much.
There's a lot in the indie scene where they're like, we don't have enough money, but here's a box of beer. And you're like, wow, that
will do it.
Your first tour or 2, you're like, that's kind of fun. And then the 3rd or 4th time, 3 weeks in, you're like, I don't need beer.
I do.
Okay, well, that's true. Yeah.
So for all you European faders and American faders, I've never toured America before, but for anybody overseas, if you want me to come out and do some live painting, I will do that. And I'll work for beer. Let's be honest. I'll do it. At this point, I'm just like, I just want to get back on the road. But 3 weeks is just way too long. I think 1 week is good. Well, it depends on how many countries and how many cities you're going to, I guess, because it's just like,
Well, in UK, we did 3 festivals and 8 shows over 10 days.
3 festivals is pretty hardcore. When I go to Berlin, I do pretty much a festival, and just one festival, all the people you meet, all the people you talk to, just that takes all your energy where you need to sleep for 2 days,
Yeah, it's
3 festivals. Holy smokes. What's going through your blood? Coffee, nitrogen. Holy smokes.
I believe it's duck fat fried fries in the UK.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that works. Are you sure it's not Guinness?
Maybe.
Oh, man.
But so, we're still very indie. So like while I'm doing this and we still operate in Tokyo this time. The first 2 tours I took, they were shorter. So we actually ran 10 shows while I was gone. And like I had to, so we were doing that tour, and on my downtime, I'm communicating with my team for all the shows.
Tickets.
Yeah.
Get more people.
Actually,
the advertising.
It was probably the most tickets we sold. Like maybe the bookings were good, but like we had a couple sellouts during that period. So maybe it's better for me to go.
Yeah, what are you doing here? Oh, man. Well, that's pretty awesome. Oh my gosh. Speaking of your team, tell me about your team.
So right now, like I've worked with a lot of people, and I've been really lucky with the people that have been around me. I think it's like the benefit of being very communal. And honestly, more than a company, I see it as like, what do I want to say? I had a word for it, but it'll never come when I want to use it. But like,
preaching to the choir, man. Everything's at the tip of my tongue.
English is gone. But so there's always like people who are willing to volunteer and help out. There's other people who are supportive. We're slowly finding some sponsors, which is really nice, that want to support what we do.
Sponsors are good.
And but like my core team is me, Asko, Brendan, and Mikey right now. So
great guys.
Yeah. So with that, like we have a designer, we have a videographer, we have photographs, like some of the best photographs. So like I feel like even though we're in the indies, like you want to create that like professional experience. So having people who can organize and people who can make sure that the content there is before the show, at the show, and after the show is really what you need for people who are serious. Because like my long-term goal is to build a pipeline. So if you have like incredible musicians that are professionally minded, how do you get them in front of people? How do you help them build their own audience? How do you get them opening for bigger acts? How do you have them tour in Japan? And then how do you have them tour abroad? And like sorting that out is like my 5-year plan, I guess. But you need
6 alone.
You need the right people. And like at that level, like with design, photo, and video, it's a really good core where you can put things out there and be sharing who and what you're doing and working with. So yeah, they're amazing.
That's
absolutely
fantastic.
love them. And there are people before, and I'm sure there are people to come, and I'm just really appreciative. Like you do many things, and
I do a lot.
when you organize, the people you're with matter. Like I could never do this alone. Like I did it alone for a long time, and I know what that was like, and I never want to go back to that.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough, but everything that I do, I've got a lot of friends and a lot of people that help me along. So I don't do everything completely alone and stuff. I organize everything alone, but it's just like, I've got a lot of friends that really help me out, that I'm really, really, beyond grateful for their support and stuff.
Yeah,
And
nice.
it's a lot of work to do, what you do. What you do, what I do is like different, but kind of similar at times.
Yeah.
And it's, I know how stressful it can be. And let's not talk about the negative. Let's talk about the positive.
Yeah.
Oh, because if we start talking about the negative, I'm like, all right, I said I wasn't going to drink this month, but let me just Uber eat some whiskey.
Yeah.
Whiskey. But
when I decided to like focus on this, I actually ran my own company before this, and it was an English company. Like a lot of people come over here, and I had a nice niche where I was teaching at other companies, and like I ended up getting a contract that like, things could be good now, but I would have had to stop events. Like I would have been too busy, and I couldn't do it. Like I loved what I was doing so much. Like I couldn't say yes to this, which if you cared about the business, that's exactly what you're looking for. So I said no, and then I canceled like all the work that I had to focus on the music and food events and the communal aspect of what I was doing. But there's a part of me, maybe as a math major, that likes a challenge and solving problems. And like building an English school, like you can kind of know what to do to make money and survive and have a good life. And at the time, it's like, that's kind of boring. Like, you know what you're doing. You just have to go through the motions.
You know what the 5-year plan is going to be.
How do you make something in the music industry successful? And if you succeed, like, that's pretty cool. Like, oh, fuck, you did it in probably one of the worst industries in the world to succeed at. And well, I'm now in the middle of trying to figure it out. So hopefully in the end, I do have an answer. Mm-hmm. But the challenge was an exciting part of what led me here. And now I'm tired every day. But there's a lot of good
coffee. Hey, coffee, come by.
Come by.
Yeah.
So you said you wanted to talk about the positives, but give me one from your end. Like, what is something positive from all the things that you've done on the organizational side of your life?
Regarding like art or music?
Well, we're both.
Absolutely. When I do music, when I'm organizing my AMP events, and my AMP events, they're kind of small. You know, they're in a small little club downtown Shibuya, right off Dogonzaka or whatever. And we usually get, like, when it's full, we probably have like maybe 60 people there in the club. It's not a big club. It's very underground, very punk rock. But when it's full and you see people jumping around and like the excitement, the energy is just cooking and the band is just rocking. And I realize that I'm bouncing up and down without even realizing. I'm like, holy shit. This is great. And then you just stop and you just take a deep breath and you're like Ferris Bueller and you just look around, you know, and you're just like, holy shit, I fucking did this. Sorry for the F-bomb, but holy smokes, I did this. Like, oh my God. And you just see all these people having a great time, you know? And then, you know, after everything's over, everyone's like drunk and happy and just like hugging you, being like, thank you so much. I needed this. You know, that right there, like, as you said, like helping people, like just like get rid of all their stress from the 9 to 5 through Monday through Friday, or maybe work and life, and just get all that stuff out of their minds, just for them to enjoy one night of just pure bliss, you know, and have them experience maybe music they've never heard before. For me, that's absolutely incredible. Like, I mean, that makes me almost even kind of emotional, to be honest. You know, it's just like doing something so good for like the community, you know, and that's really powerful. That's really powerful. And that's great. And when it comes to art, like the Tokyo Art Tank events, those are just, I just love bringing so many creative people together for the whole like city, if not the whole country, to come and experience, you know, and for people to come and just see like so many different kinds of like incredible art that inspires them, maybe makes them do something creative, or maybe gives them the idea to do something like good or something. You know, it's just like, I mean, art is very powerful. Art is beyond emotional. I don't even know the words, how to describe art. You know, a lot of artists like kind of like struggle with that. Like, what is art? You know, what is the meaning of art? And even for me, it's really difficult. But I tell you what, when it's all there and it's all in place and people are coming in and enjoying it, that's what art is. I don't know how to put that into words other than that, but that's really powerful. And I love it when artists are very happy. Like the beautiful thing about my events is we actually sell artwork. And I know all art exhibitions sell artwork, but people actually do sell their artwork, you know, where like people come in and they buy tangible pieces of artwork. And it's so great for artists to be like just so blown away. They're like, oh my God, I just sold like all my paintings, or I just sold all my t-shirts and we still have like another day and a half. What do I do? I'm like, celebrate. That's what you should do. Give me some love. Give me a hug, you know, buy me a beer, you know? So it's really, really, really cool. And I love organizing the Tokyo Art Tank events just as much as I love showing my artwork, you know, just because I love bringing so many creative people together. It's really, really powerful. And then and everybody in Japan, you know, like all the good people of Japan, they come to the shows and they just love it. I've never heard one negative thing. Knock on wood. Knocking on my head right now. But so that's what I really love about organizing this stuff, you know.
I think you nailed it on the head. It always comes back to the connections and people. And inspiring others, honestly. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Yeah, just making people happy, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And okay, my next question, how can bands get in contact with you? So I'm sure there's a lot of people who are in bands who want to come to Japan or who are in Japan are just like, dude, what do I do next?
On our website, So we're at www.morethanmusicjapan.com.
Show notes.
Yeah, show notes. There's a contact page on there. You send it. It's in our email. I'm terrible at communication sometimes. Like with 8 events a month, like I probably have like 100 to 200 ongoing conversations for like what's actually happening over the next 3 months on top of like future stuff. I do my best, but that's where you can contact us easily. And then we have an Instagram, morethanmusic.jp. And we also have a Line group, More Than Music, but that's it. That's amazing. I like Line, actually, if you're in Japan.
Yeah, awesome. And Line is basically like Messenger. So
yeah.
So, all right, fantastic. And I think, oh, yes. There's one question I forgot to talk about. This week, right now it is November 5th, but this week on the 11th, there's a big show that you're having. So I mean, every day there's a big show, but on the 11th, you're having something absolutely phenomenal. So could you tell the audience about this? And I'm going to get this out tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, sure thing. So to make it easier to run so many, we started like serializing our events. And this 11th is the finale of a series called Electro Man. We paired up with this guy, Emergency Oxygen. I love his music and he's a really good guy to work with. And we ran an event every other month at this club called Kagurane. It's owned by a sound engineer, and it's like, clearly he cares about sound. It's some of the best stuff in Tokyo. And we've had a lot of good artists, but for the season finale, we were able to book a nice headliner. He's fresh off of Tomorrowland. His name's Shingo Nakamura. And because it's the season finale, we're going in on some creative lighting and different things. And the music's great at a place where it sounds beautiful. And yeah, it's just going to be a wonderful night.
Yo, faders, the holiday season is slowly creeping up, and there's only one way to stay ahead of present panic. And that's by shopping for the holidays early. This year, don't stress about finding something cool for your friends, family, and or significant other. Get something special and unique by commissioning an original popsicle painting from yours truly, or by purchasing a masterpiece from the Spilt Inks website. Yo, that's right. Look down in Got Faded Japan's episode notes and click on the Spilt Inks website link and take a look around and find something exciting. So this year, forget about the holiday rush, forget about stress, and forget about stressing on getting a cool present for that special person. This year, take care of yourself. And you can only take care of yourself by getting an original piece of artwork that's going to last you and or that significant other, friend, family, boss, neighbor, enemy, whatever, that's going to last them a lifetime. All right, Saito-san, cut off the Christmas music. It's not even December yet.
Are you at Harajuku with some out-of-town friends or your family or significant others? Yeah! Do you want to chill and drink beer and eat sandwiches while your friends overpay for glitter unicorn socks? Yeah!
And the flavor's gonna make you complete at Harry's Sandwich Company.
So come on down to Harry's Sandwich Company in the heart of Harajuku, right off Takeshita Street. See you there!
Mitsuya Liquors. Yo, what's up, faders? If you're in Asia, if you're in Japan, if you're in Tokyo, if you're in Asagaya, you better get down to Mitsuya Liquors. That's right. For the most affordable prices in Japan, you can get over 300 different kinds of beer. That's right, over 300 different kinds of beer. And of course, they got all the shochu you need, all the sake you need, and of course, they got wine from California to Italy to France to New Zealand. They got it all. When I say they got it all, they really, seriously got it all. There's no joke about that. So get down to Mitsuya Liquors. And if you go in there and you say, Got Faded Japan, you will be more than welcome to go into their back room and drink those beers that you just purchased. That's right, Got Faded Japan at Mitsuya Liquors. And 3 times a week, they have a sushi chef there. So get your sushi on, get your drink on, get your fade on, and come on down to Mitsuya Liquors, located comfortably in Asagaya, about 5-minute walk from the station. Mitsuya Liquors.
In Tokyo and craving soul food? We've got just the place for you. Soul Food House in Azabu Juban. Check out what we do at soulfoodhouse.com. Come by and taste the love. We look forward to feeding you.
for you guys, if you don't know, he's actually going to be joining us for the finale.
Me?
Yeah. I've always loved the neon aspects of his artwork, and I think it fits the theme of Electroman very well. So he'll have some pieces on display at the show.
Yep. So I'm going to be exhibiting it's my blacklight pop stick artwork. It's something I've been working on for the last 6 months. It's really, really fantastic. Usually when I go to nightclubs and I live paint, well, not usually, but within the last 6 months, this is what I've been doing. And then this is just going to be like an exhibition of all my latest stuff, which is going to be really cool. And I think it's going to be really fitting towards for the music. And I think this is going to be a very, very exciting show. The venue's amazing. The artists are amazing. The organizer's amazing too. It's all amazing. And I'm really looking forward to it. And faders, if you're in Tokyo, you should definitely come on down to More Than Music on the 11th. It's going to be two thumbs up.
I think it's like 80% sold out already. So if you are in Tokyo, grab the ticket online.
Awesome.
Because I think it'll be sold out by then.
Cool. And I've got t-shirts for sale. So definitely come down and buy one of those. If you mention Got Faded Japan, you will get a discount. Thank you for watching and listening.
That's true.
Cool, man. Is there anything else you want to plug?
Man. I mean, on our website, we have our schedule, like 8 events a month. So just morethanmusicjapan.com/events. Or go to the website and find it and check out what you like. We have Thanksgiving dinner on the 25th and Christmas on the 17th. If you want to try my home cooked food.
Wait, is it going to be at your house? There's a lot of people who are listening to this. You got to be careful.
I used to do it at my house. I had a very special setup, but the neighbors in Japan will not let me where I live now. So we rent out a kitchen and then I cook for like 2 days and serve like a full course meal.
You cook for 2 days?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Well, I'll be there, faders. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. And you should too. How can people come to that? Just go to the website.
Yeah,
everything's on the website. Pretty much.
Everything's on the website. So yeah, just find the Thanksgiving event and grab your ticket.
God, everybody loves Thanksgiving. You know, Thanksgiving right now in Japan,
It's actually my favorite holiday. Like
Thanksgiving is your favorite.
It has the most amazing food. You bring your family together and there's no stress of like presents or keeping people happy like Christmas has. Like Christmas is great too. But when I was young and growing up, I think my mom was equally stressed about trying to please everybody and bake all the cookies and everything. But
it's a cake and you like it.
And Thanksgiving, it just didn't have that. Like you eat and you fall asleep to a football game. And it was great. I love food.
Well, that's fantastic. Oh, man.
What you were saying about Japan?
Yeah, in Japan, like, I mean, it's like all these American holidays are just taking off like wildfire. And I mean, we just experienced Halloween.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Halloween was like a week long. Oh, my goodness. Like, I saw you at the OR Club, the ragtag event. Yeah, you're dressed as Jesus. I was like a paint monster or something. I was live painting. There's like 600 people in that club. It was absolutely fantastic. That was on Saturday, like 5 days before Halloween?
Yeah.
Was it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? No, 4 days before Halloween. Saturday, all the clubs were packed. Or Friday, all the clubs were packed. Saturday, all the clubs were packed. Sunday, all the clubs were packed. Monday was kind of a day of rest.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday, Shibuya was just bonkers. Like people all over the place. I think there's like a 50%, I think like the ratio between like cops and like people in costume are like 50%. Shibuya was like phenomenal. I've never seen that many police officers in my life.
Well, they did that whole campaign of like not Shibuya. Yeah. I heard there was a lot that moved to like Shinjuku, I believe. Shinjuku and somewhere else. But it's always been it's a great holiday in Japan. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that struggle to talk. So like, you go out in costume and I feel like it just frees up everybody to go make friends and talk to you. And
well, yeah, the costume and the booze, but yeah.
Well, that helps too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was a great party that we saw each other at. But yeah.
And it only took me a bedsheet to turn into Jesus. So I might be the third coming.
You know what? You made a pretty impressive Jesus. Like, holy smokes, you weren't even wearing shoes.
Well, yeah, that happens at most of my shows, actually.
Really? Oh,
that's
my gosh.
My girlfriend's sister approved of me. She's like, where's his shoes? And she's like, oh, he wants to dance. He took them off.
Really? Oh,
she's like,
dangerous? I mean, there's a lot of girls that wear those stiletto boots and the high heels or whatever. I mean, dude. Then again, I mean, if they step on your feet, you might get holes, so you will totally look like Jesus.
Oh, man. life's the risk, So like,
yeah, tell me about it, especially in our businesses. But yeah, but my point being, it's just like my original point is like Halloween has just exploded in popularity in the last 10 years now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Thanksgiving might be the next American holiday to take off, just because the food, the people coming together, there's no stress, and it's basically like, I guess it would be like Halloween minus the costumes. Wouldn't it? People just come together, eating food and just hanging out.
Yeah, that's all Thanksgiving was, like celebrate the things you care about. Like for me, before I ever became an organizer, even it was just I did it every year once I came here because like it was a very warm experience I had with my family that I love to share every year. And when I got here, like you got a little bit of like that sabishi, like my family's not here, but this is a very familiar thing to do. So I just invited my friends over for dinner, and I've just done Thanksgiving dinner every year for the last 13 years.
Oh my gosh, that's the way to do it. I've got a Thanksgiving nightmare.
Oh yeah?
Oh God, yeah. It was like, it must have been 2014, and I wanted to have like a Thanksgiving dinner. For some reason, I was just feeling, just kind of like homesick, whatever. So I got online, I organized like this dinner at where was it? It was at the Outback Steakhouse, right? And it was like me and like 10 of my friends that are all American, right? Plus like everybody's girlfriend. And I'm like, okay, we're going to be at the Outback Steakhouse. We're going to be there at this time. It's Thanksgiving. It's going to be great, and we'll just go there. We'll order food and we'll just drink, and it'll just be fantastic. And everybody started arguing because everyone's like, I want to go to this place. I want to go to that place. I want to go to this place. I want to go to this place, whatever, like that. And it wound up being just like me, my wife, who's my girlfriend at the time, and like another couple. And I was like, Thanksgiving sucks. Yeah. So yeah. I don't know. I'm definitely going to go to your Thanksgiving now.
Oh man, you definitely should.
Yeah, I'll organize a lot of events, but not Thanksgiving.
Ironically, I've treated Halloween that way. Like as an organizer, everyone expects you to do something. I'm like, no, Halloween's so good in Japan. I just want to go out and experience it. Like that's my weekend off of the year.
Yeah. Wow, speaking of Halloween, going back to that, it's just like this Halloween. This was on Saturday. The Saturday that we went to the event we met at that event. It's just like I thought nobody was going to go to any club that night because I thought everybody was going to be downtown Shibuya, downtown Shinjuku, downtown Yokohama. I thought everybody's just going to be on the streets, drinking on the streets, but instead, like kind of like a lot of the cities blocked off the streets or whatever, like the cops didn't want people walking around, whatever. So everybody, instead of being on the streets, went into the clubs. Dude, I heard that every single club in Shibuya was packed way beyond like maximum capacity.
Yeah.
It was insane. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was the night to go out and not organize. Being an organizer, oh my God. Could you imagine? Like the hour right before you open the doors, you're like, nobody's going to come. Nobody's going to come. Everybody's outside. Fuck. I just lost a lot of money. Oh my God. I've been working on this for months. Oh my God. And then all of a sudden the doors open and then just like this funnel of people just shoots into the club. Oh my God. That club, I was there from the beginning until the very end. And like basically went from like nobody being in the club to like everybody being in the club to the point where like I wanted to get a drink and I looked at like the bar. I looked over this basically an ocean of people to like where the bar was. There's like 50 people trying to get a drink. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm not going to get a drink tonight.
Yeah, you didn't have like a back way because you're working there?
No, I was stuck, I mean, but it was cool. I made a beautiful painting. I made a lot of friends and I did get drinks eventually. But yeah, there are a couple of times where I was just like, oh man, can somebody buy me a drink?
Yeah, next time we're at the same place, just let me know.
Yes. I'm like, hey, Jesus, I got some water. Give me some wine.
I was trying to turn it into wine the whole night.
Oh man, yeah, that was a good time though. Oh man. Anyway, Justin, thank you so much for being on Got Faded Japan. It's great hanging out with you. Next time we do
really
this,
nice,
we're gonna have to drink. Yeah, dude, definitely. Cheers, man.
I'm down for doing it again.
Excellent. Faders, thank you very much for tuning in with us on this very special episode of Got Faded Japan. Definitely go into the show notes, click on the More Than Music links, check out all the events that are happening. Obviously, there's one happening right now, so go to that one if you're in Tokyo. And yes, if you're in town on the 11th, definitely come to the event and check us out. It'll be great. Do shots with us. with Johnny. And
Is that the only day you're drinking before the Tokyo Art Tank?
oh shit, I forgot about that. No, I'll be drinking water all month. I made a pact to myself. There's one thing I don't break is like drinking before Tokyo Art Tank. So
Okay.
yeah.
If people gift you a shot, can you refuse?
I'm gonna refuse. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Gift him a shot so it ends up here.
Yeah. I'm like, here, thank you very much. There you go, Jesus. But Baders, you know what to do. Go to iTunes, give us a 5-star review, write something groovy. If you haven't checked us out on YouTube, go to YouTube, subscribe, like this video, tell your friends. We're all over SNS, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, X. And thank you so much again. And I guess we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Cheers.
My little brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. Will you wait till Mom finds out, buddy?
I've got a government job to abuse and a lonely wife to fuck.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
God, the pressure! I can't take it! I can't take it! I can't stand to it!
You sure I should do this, man?
We're going drinking! We came, we saw, we kicked his ass!
Your move, creep.
Oh, man. I will never forgive your ass for this shit. This is some fucked up repugnant shit.
Ah, fuck it, dude. Let's go bold.